Rasulillah wa ba'd. So we're gonna finish the third part of the hadith that we started a few days ago. So the Prophet ﷺ said, بلغوا عني ولو آية. Convey from me, even if it's one verse or one small amount of knowledge. وحدثوا عن بني إسرائيل ولا حرج. And you're allowed to narrate from the children of Israel, and there's no problem in that. We covered that yesterday. وَمَنْ كَذَبَ عَلَيَّ مُتَعَمِّدًا فَلْيَتَبَوَّأ مَقْعده مِنَ النَّارِ. And whoever tells a lie against me should take their seat in the hellfire. And this hadith is in Bukhari. So the third part of this hadith we should go into. This is known by scholars as the most authentic hadith in existence. There is no hadith that is more authentic than this hadith. The hadith is Man كذب علي متعمدا فليتبوأ مقعده من النار. Whoever lies against me intentionally should take their place in the hellfire. So you can imagine why this is the most authentic hadith. What makes a hadith the most authentic? It's not just the strength of the people who narrate the hadith. There's a higher level than that, and that is the amount of people that narrate it. So we've covered before in the past that there are four main types of hadith. See if we can remember. What's the first one? What is authentic? Well, just in this category, in the regular category. Sahih, which means authentic. And then one level below that is Hasan, means good enough, authentic enough. One level below that is Da'if. Without going into the detail, Da'if. And then the lowest level, that falls in this category, Mawdu', means fabricated. So if we go into some more detail, what happens is one level above Sahih, it's called Mashhur, but one level above that, the highest is Mutawatir. Mutawatir means that a hadith has been narrated by so many different people, different companions as well. So this was the most narrated hadith that they had because they were so afraid of narrating hadith because they might end up telling a lie against the Messenger of Allah. So this is the first thing, that we need to be so this is the most authentic hadith, we need to be very cautious about what we say. When we say something, the Messenger of Allah said this. Oh, the Prophet said this. Did you know the Prophet said that? You need to be very careful to make sure you're not falsely attributing something to the Prophet. And then we need to be very careful about spreading information that we know, or Muslim scholars have determined, specialists in hadith have determined, that this is not considered to be authentic, it's not accurate. So in the category of da'if hadith, the weak hadith, there are also three stages. There's like a little bit weak, like weak in the middle, and then there's like da'if jiddan, very weak. And then there's mawdu', which means we're pretty sure that somebody lied and this is not a true statement. And we need to be very careful about sharing those things. Now the problem is, you say, well, how do you know that? How can you find that out? Today, most people, how do they share hadith? Somebody forwarded me on WhatsApp, and they made a little picture out of it, and the cool picture has a hadith there, and it says the Prophet said, and I think this is really nice, and I'm going to go and I'm going to share it with all my friend circle. And this happens not only when it comes to hadith, it happens to other things. You get random messages, say, Dr. Gupta from the University of Switzerland discovered that if you eat this 2 carrots every day, you'll be cured from cancer. And it's been proven by medical science and everything. And then you research it and you say, there is no Dr. Gupta in the University of Switzerland. Maybe there is no University of Switzerland, the University of Geneva, but there's no Switzerland. So you go and you do a quick research and you realize this whole thing is fake and it's made up. And unfortunately, there were people in history who did that with hadith as well. Sometimes they completely made up, or sometimes it was just very unreliable people who shared those things. So what should be the method today? The average person, you wish that there would be a search engine that you could go to and say, you know what, with AI, we're maybe almost there, but you wish that you could take a search engine, you see a hadith on a picture, and you say, you know what, let me verify if this is authentic. So you put it in there, and it checks words that are somewhat similar and close to that, and then it comes back and it says, you know what, this one should not be shared. This one is mawdu'. This one is pretty good, and here are the references and all of that stuff. There are people who are working on this, but you have to understand that there are many, many books and variations and various chains of hadith This is not an easy task, and it's not been accomplished until now. There is no full search engine, in English at least. You could, if you know Arabic, you try Dora.net, do the Mosrat al-Hadithi, and it'll give you some of those references. But in English, there's nothing that you can just go and type in there and just verify hadith. Sunnah.com is a pretty good resource and all that. In the meantime, what should the average person's methodology be? The average person's methodology, so that we don't fall into something where we're spreading false information about Islam or about the Messenger of Allah or anything like that, is that you should always check and say, okay, well, who is sharing this information with me? Like if some random person came to you and said, you know what, if you eat 3 carrots a day, you have arthritis, you eat 3 carrots every single day, your arthritis will go away within 6 months. That's amazing. That sounds fantastic. But then you say, who is telling me this? Is this a certified, qualified doctor? You say, okay, no, this is my friend who heard from a very well-known, authorized physician who does research in this field. Then you say, okay, at least I know where the source went back from. It went from my friend, to my friend's friend, to this person who they know is a very reputable, reliable, physician. They research in this field. We should do the exact same thing with hadith. Somebody randomly sends you something, and there's no source, and there's no checking or anything. You say, okay, who sent this to me? Is this a person who generally double fact checks things and stuff like that? Have I ever heard of something like this? Does this have any basis? And did they get it from a more reputable, reliable source of knowledge? And if the answer is no, 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 then you have to do some research. And if the answer is yes, yes, there's some at the end of the person that I got it from, or that originally originated from, there's some this is a reliable person, so and so, they study and they attend classes and they seem to know about hadith and this and that, probably more likely to be reliable. That should be our situation. So we need to be careful about the type of information we share in general, right? Whether McDonald's, we don't eat McDonald's anyway due to the boycott, but McDonald's French fries have pork in them or not. You get messages like that. Whether the coffee has pork in it or not, or whether ketchup, Heinz ketchup in South Africa, this is an old email that was spread, whether Heinz ketchup has pork seasoning inside of it or not. Turns out it didn't. People spread false messages. So they can also spread false messages about Islam, so we should be a little critical and have a filter on. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase us in our knowledge and our understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to always tell the truth and never speak a lie, especially against the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ameen wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.